Walking can do wonders for you. While it isn't as strenuous or as intense as running, it has so many health benefits. It's good for our heart, our mind, our metabolism, balance, and our circulation. We have a long list of how we can walk our way to a healthy you. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. On today's program, we'll walk you through the many benefits of walking. Welcome to Med Talk Health Talk right here on CNN Philippines. Walking and running are actually two of the best fat-burning exercises, but walking is a lot easier, don't you think? Joining us today are Coach Iggy Lopez. He's an endurance coach as well as an athlete. We also have Dr. Iggy Agbayani, who's a sports medicine specialist. Thank you both for joining us on the show. Now, studies show that walking 30 minutes a day can help maintain and improve our overall health. First, it increases heart and lung fitness, while walking also reduces the risk of heart disease as well as stroke. It improves the management of a number of health conditions such as hypertension and even diabetes. And it helps with stronger bones as well as it strengthens our muscles. And it improves balance and circulation and even sleeping. Ang dami talaga. I want to ask Dr. Agbayani, please explain to us how walking can actually help with the heart, lungs, or bones, as well as the muscles. I mean, there are so many benefits. Unahin natin ang heart and lungs. How does walking make a difference?
Just walking actually makes you move more. And motion, of course, allows your blood flow to go faster. And that prevents yung mga tinatawag natin mga clots and accumulation of mga debris sa katawan natin. It lets the blood flow faster. Of course, if your heart pumps faster as well, it will trigger your muscles to become more fit. There are other things, of course, that when you exercise, you also consume more calories, and one of the first things you burn are the excess carbs that you eat. So those two alone are great reasons to walk.
We mentioned a few medical conditions and how walking can help manage them, including hypertension, high cholesterol, and even diabetes. Dr. Agbayani, can you break that down for us? How can walking manage these conditions?
First of all, motion alone will increase blood flow because the muscles will pump, the heart will pump, so that increases blood flow, and therefore yung clotting is prevented. And the other one is that you consume more calories, and the first calories that you use are yung mga excess carbs nyo. So it doesn't add to the load of causing diabetes, for example. Those are just among the other things that it can help for.
We also mentioned, Dr. Bayani, yung balance nakakatulong din dito. How can walking help with balance?
Well, yes, absolutely. When you move around, even just standing will help your ability to balance instead of being sedentary and in bed, because even that is a muscle in itself. You have to exercise your sense of balance.
And in general, exercising makes you stronger, plus it has many mental benefits as well. Coach Iggy, let's discuss that and explain that to our viewers.
Well, basically, when you work out or exercise, such as walking, no, nagre-release yung katawan natin ng feel-good na hormones, yung endorphins, diba? So, after you run or you walk, you sweat, and then your heart pumps, and then you feel good, diba? So, once you feel good, yun yung masarap na nararamdaman ng tao when you walk and work out. It's such a big help, especially nowadays.
Yes, and how physical activity really releases endorphins and those hormones talaga, no? And we can't deny it. Health and wellness are top of mind for many people nowadays, especially during these unprecedented times of change. Given the many restrictions, there are still a lot of ways that we can exercise at home to stay fit. And as we've been saying, walking is one of them. It's a very simple exercise that has many benefits. And we've been talking about how it can help your heart, lungs, your circulation, and overall metabolism. And of course, it can also help with losing or maintaining your weight. Coach Iggy, how much walking do we really need to reap the benefits of this particular activity?
Well, walking kasi it's a regular activity we do as human beings, right? So for me, 30 minutes is good. Again, pace and effort depends on the individual. But as long as you can talk to your in chit-chat pace, ang tawag na, no? If you can chit-chat while walking, that is a good effort already. And 30 minutes will definitely burn around 150 calories, and that's good enough for compared to people who are sedentary.
Now, Coach Ige, let's talk about brisk walking versus a leisurely walk. What's the difference in terms of health benefits?
Well, brisk walking is much better because you're exerting more effort, you're burning more calories, and you'll definitely sweat more. So easy walking or yung walking like walking in the mall, you're still moving naman, which is good. No? But of course, you want to increase the calories burned, get to feel endorphins better. I suggest it's brisk walking or actually running eventually. But brisk walking is good already.
Yes, it's definitely a good start. And it's always a good start with a leisurely pace and then pick it up later on. Walking can also help losing that belly fat. So for those who wish to get rid of that extra weight around the waist, walking is one of the answers. But of course, it needs to be complemented with eating healthy. Now, I want to focus this time on our healthy options and the types of food we need to avoid or cut back on. Dr. Agbayani, let's name the do's and don'ts when it comes to food choices.
Especially nowadays where we're at home, some people can't cook and they have it delivered. I think the first thing you must avoid are the processed carbs and too much sugars. That is actually one of the things that would lead to a lot of cardiovascular and metabolic problems. I often advise my patients to lower their carb intake because I see that this apparently will trigger people who are prone to diabetes to become diabetic, and this is the worst time to become diabetic. So in general, I would always advise them to try to do their best to eat a little more fat, a little more meat, and not to concentrate too much on the sugars. Unfortunately, one of the sugars we think that is always healthy, no matter what volume, are fruits. And though they are good, I would try to limit because they're also sugars.
Let's build physical activity into our lives. Walking is a nice, simple option for so many of us. When we return, the step-by-step how to get ready to walk for good health. This is Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. Stay with us. Today, we're talking about fitness for your mind and body through walking. You're watching Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Walking is a low-cost and effective form of exercise, but we do need to point out the importance of wearing the right pair of shoes. Dr. Agbayani, tell us why is footwear very important when we go out walking?
People think just go ahead and buy any shoes, but without fit, you tend to have those foot problems, blisters, and a lot of the reasons we don't want to walk is because of pain. So it's better you find a well-fitted shoes.
Aside from the right footwear, it's a good idea to wear loose and comfortable clothing when you go out and walk. But is there really a good way to walk? Experts will say that there's actually a technique. Coach Ige, can you share this technique with us? Because I want to start with the heel-to-toe technique. Is that the normal way of walking for many anyway?
Yes, actually, the heel-to-toe walking is the most natural way. But you'll be surprised that some people will land on their toes. So try to be conscious and try to be aware of where you land your feet. Because it's better to be on the heel, pero may rolling. May mag-roll. Mag-roll over yung heel to toe para mas smooth yung transition.
Okay, so now that we know the good technique, Coach Ige, how does our core play a role naman in walking?
Well, core is definitely important because that will support your upper body and your lower body. Kasi kung kuba ka rin, the problem with that is hindi ka rin makahinga ng maayos. So it's best to have a proper posture and then always engage your core. What I always tell my students is by just tightening your buttocks, that's a good way already of engaging your core.
Now we've engaged our core, we know the proper technique of walking. How about the movements naman of the arms? A lot of people don't give this a second thought actually, but the arms are actually very important when it comes to balance. Coach Ige, could you explain this?
Yeah, so basically when you're walking, it comes out naman naturally na opposite ang mangyayari. So if your right foot is forward, nasa opposite naman yung arms mo. So pag ganun ang movement, kasi hindi pwedeng isang right and right, left and left. So dapat opposite yung arms and yung sa foot. And then it will come out naturally naman.
Yes, and look up, not down when walking. And don't slouch. We mention these because it's commonly done. Dr. Bayani, please explain why posture also plays a role in walking.
It will help because you need balance when you run, and as you run, you tend to need to move forward your upper back a bit more. So it's an important factor that you also concentrate on your form, and I think that's part of a good running technique.
Now, Coach Ige, a lot of people get frustrated whenever they try a new physical activity or whether they're not used to exercising because nahihirapan sila agad. And when it comes to walking, that's our goal to help them start slow. What would you suggest for those who aren't used to physical activity? They start walking, but they see other people jog or run. Should they start to keep up with them? Should they start running the first week that they're walking?
Well, for me, my best advice would be to follow your own efforts, no? Have an honest effort with yourself and then just be consistent. If you want to see progress, you have to be consistent. You want to walk every day. You can alternate it with an easy walking, and then the next day fast walking, and then easy walking, and then until you progress. And then from the time also, from you can start with 10 minutes of walking, and then 20 minutes, and then 30 minutes, and then go back again to 10 minutes until you feel more comfortable with it. And then it's really all about consistency.
Yes, that's good. You mentioned that, Coach Ige. No? How important is consistency in trying to reap benefits from a certain physical exercise?
For me, walking, you can walk every day. You can do that after every meal. If you have your after dinner, it's nice to have like a 10-15 minute brisk walking. And para bumaba rin yung kinain nyo, saka masarap din yung tulog nyo afterward.
And Dr. Agbayani, if a lot of people see this and they start, they're walking and they want to reap the benefits of this, are there any injuries that they should just be mindful of to help avoid them if possible?
The first rule to avoiding injuries is not to overdo things. So I always say that to exercise, the first step is to stand up. The second step is to move. So you're not competing with anyone but yourself. So if you really were so bad yesterday, all you need to do is just keep it a little bit more and just build on that. People think that if they put everything out front, do everything fast, they will get better fast. Unfortunately, that is the recipe for injuries. So you really have to know your body, compete against yourself and no one else.
Now start on your path to a better health. We'll have more walking tips to help you get started. Stay with us on CNN Philippines. You can walk your way to a healthier lifestyle. Welcome back to Med Talk Health Talk on CNN Philippines. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez. Walking is one of the best fat-burning exercises, and it can do more than help you lose weight. It strengthens our bones and muscles, and it helps improve metabolism as well as our circulation. And for those who haven't tried walking as a regular activity, how can they get started? Dr. Bayani, that's a question a lot of people ask. So what are your best tips just to get started into that path of good physical activity?
Certainly, if you have a background of medical issues like hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, it's always to get a good check first. But actually, if you can take a flight of stairs, say 10 stairs, you can begin your exercise immediately.
Very good. Now, Coach Ige, there's been a lot of discussion about stretching before physical activity. There have been some studies where they say it's best not to stretch so much before physical activity, while other studies say that it's most beneficial that we warm up our muscles. How important is stretching before walking? And do we need some warm-up and cool-down exercises as well?
Oh yes, definitely. Walking alone is a good warm up. All right, you just have to observe your pace and effort. Of course, good to do some dynamic workouts or dynamic exercises like jumping jack, leg swings, arm swings. These things will help elevate your heart rate and smoothen the blood flow para hindi kayo mabigla sa walking session mo.
Okay. Now, Coach, a lot of people who do physical activity for the first time may feel some aches and pains the day after. Anong good advice para dito? Ito ba'y dapat ipamasahe or is it best to take anti-inflammatory medication or pain medications for this? Anong dapat gawin?
Well, actually, if you warm up and cool down properly, you won't feel as much. But if you do feel these aches and pains, it's actually normal. Ang tawag nga nila dyan is DOMS, or delayed onset muscle soreness. That's basically a normal thing that happens when you work out. It means that what you're doing is working. So you just have to keep on observing yourself and see the adaptation, how your body adapts to the thing that you've done.
Now, Dr. Agbayani, how can our viewers determine if it is just regular muscle soreness or if this is something that they should have checked with a doctor?
Yeah, usually, coach is correct. The first day should be able to feel a little pain. But if it's in excess of 2 days, I think I would consider that an injury already. And, muscle soreness sometimes is expected, but there is such a thing as muscle stretching or pulled muscle. A lot of people tend to have muscle aches way prolong the period of what is expected. It's something to do with diet as well. There are some groups of people who are very prone to sugars, and if they eat lots of sugars, they tend to have more aches and inflammation even longer than 1 day.
And while we encourage taking baby steps, it's also good to set goals. Remember, the faster, the longer you walk, and the more frequent, the greater the benefits to you. Now, how about we talk about some safety suggestions while walking? And first and foremost, we encourage you to check with your doctor always before trying a new activity. Dr. Agbayani, why is it so important that people have themselves get a clearance or so with their doctors before performing any physical activity for long term?
Of course, people die when they exercise sometimes. So it's always good, but unfortunately, it's also hard to get a consultation nowadays. So I gave that simple rule. If you can take 10 steps upstairs, you should be able to do a fairly good amount of exercise. But then again, like I said earlier, your exercise should not be compared to others. If you really feel so tired, even just 5 minutes, that's enough. Don't try to push yourself. So
Okay.
every person will have a different level of exercise.
Okay, good advice. Now, Coach Ige, what's your best suggestion for consistency? Marami tayo dyan na it's their first time to do physical activity. They find it really hard to fit that into their schedule. So, eventually, napuputol, hindi nagiging consistent. What's your best advice for good, consistent physical activity like walking?
First, you have to have a goal. Like, I will walk for 30 minutes in 3 weeks, for example. So if you're like totally sedentary, start with 10 minutes every day, and then you build it up. It's nice to have also a journal or a diary of your training, so you can track down. Having a watch will also help for you to be able to track it also, no? You can also write all the time, the distances, the efforts you felt, and then what you ate, what you drank, how much, and then all these things you can compare as you go along the process.
That's right. It's good always to have goals. And weather is a consideration always whenever we do activities outside. So please wear sunscreen and sunglasses if it's too bright or sunny. And also drink before and after walking because you need to stay hydrated always. Now, before I let both of you go, do you have any words for our viewers when it comes to walking? I'll start first with Coach Ige.
For me, just enjoy it, and then enjoy every step. Ika nga. So, and smile. Stay positive.
Very good advice. And Dr. Agbayani, your advice for our viewers?
Well, life is motion, and motion is actually life. So we really need to get out. If you can't get out, do something to even indoors. Just to keep moving. If your body detects you're not moving anymore, it is a signal that you don't want to live. So that's how important motion and walking is.
Very good. And with that, I'd like to thank our guest for today, sports medicine specialist Dr. Iggy Agbayani and endurance coach and athlete, Mr. Iggy Lopez. It was nice having you on the show, and we hope to see you again sometime. Choose the fitness that fits you and take that first step to a healthier lifestyle. Walking is a fairly easy way to get started. I'm Dr. Freddy Gomez, and thank you for watching us here on MedTalk Health Talk, only on CNN Philippines.